Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Irvin, with another manga chapter review. As promised, I have the final chapter, chapter 18 of Jinrou Game the B-Side. This is going to be on the final of this series, so I'm finally glad that I'm done with this series. I started this one a few months ago with Jinrou Game, and then I did Jinrou Game the B-Side, so I'm glad that I'm done with this series. And I finally can rate it. So before I continue, do want to say a few things. One, if you haven't done so, subscribe to my channel, hit that bell button if you guys want to know when I upload videos like this one or when I go live. Secondly, if you guys haven't checked out the first 17 videos on this series and the first 18 videos on Jinrou Game, then you're way behind. Go watch those. I will make sure to tag a playlist at the end of this video. And then lastly, if you guys don't want the last chapter to be spoiled, then don't be watching this video. Skip this video and read it, and then come back to so you guys can hear my opinion on it. So, what happened? Let's start, I guess, now. Nishina-san did not calculate it right, and she did not think of the bodyguard being able to protect the other players. So she wakes up the next morning, runs to Monokata, and says, "Monokata, you're alive, you're alive. I protected you. I'm the bodyguard." So the fact that that happened, that that she was the first one, Monokata's kind of confused with all going on, but she's glad. Then they see Hitomi, and Nishina-san starts saying, "You're the werewolf. I protected Monokata, and you're the werewolf." And she finally gives the list of people she protected throughout the game. Hitomi cannot give the list, and she panics, and Nishina-san thinks that she's able to turn it on her. Now, Monokata then at the end, before voting, says, "Nishina-san, you're contradicting yourself. I don't know why, but I don't feel like you are telling the truth." So Nishina-san panics and doesn't know what to do at that point. Voting starts, and everyone votes. So Monokata votes for Hitomi as well as Nishina-san. So Hitomi ends up dying. Her death was pretty bad. Her collar ripped her neck in half. It was just pretty bad. Anyways, then Monokata tells Nishina-san, "Don't you remember?" Now, not particularly completely sure what she meant by that, other than at the beginning of this chapter, Monokata had a dream remembering that Nishina-san was the only person that kind of gave her hope in school, made her feel special. So she, I guess, was returning their favor. So the game ended, and Monokata's collar spikes come out, and she dies. Now, that wasn't secure when the werewolves were going to win, if the villagers were going to survive, and I guess we got our answer. The villagers did not survive if the werewolves won in that matter. So when it kind of dies, Nishina-san is left there, and she starts choking. Now, this is where I started wondering, like, what the heck is going on? Why is she choking? And it turned out that they were just choking her for her to faint and for her to end up outside of the house with a key, probably to where the money is. She gets up and says, "I don't want the money. I want to play the game. I want to play the game again. Make me join you guys." And she opens the door and says, "I want to join you guys to play the game more." And that's it. That's the end of the series. Now, I do have a few thoughts about it before I rate it. One, the first volume was the slowest volume, and the third volume was the fastest volume. Is that particularly bad? Not so much, but as a reader, if I would have picked up the first volume, I probably would have stopped there, just because it was so slow. Now, I continued it just because I knew it was going to end up being a little bit better towards the end, and it did. Secondly, the game itself, well set up on a previous game made up in the world called Werewolf Game. In the U.S., there's a similar game called Mafia. So there's different games that are similar to this game that we play here in the real world. So it kind of makes you connect to the game and to the story itself. So it did well. The fact that there were so many twists and turns, so many lies, it did confuse you a bit, and it did make you wonder who was the bodyguard, who was the fortune teller, who were the twins. That was, great of the story itself. Now, did we get a list of who everyone was? Well, we knew who the werewolves were. That was Nishina-san, Inua-san, and Issei. We knew who the fortune teller was, Todo-san, and we knew who the bodyguard was by these last two chapters, which was Hitomi. Now, what we didn't find out was who was the second twin. The first twin was Saiki. Well, according to her, she was a twin. So we didn't figure out the second twin, and we didn't figure out the whole purpose of having twins. How did it help the game? How did it improve the game? Other than Saiki was crazy enough to declare that she was a twin from the beginning of the story. So I didn't like that in particular of the series itself. So keeping all that in mind, the speed it moved, the way it ended I was not the biggest fan. It was left open-ended, I guess, to give it space for them to either end it there if they want to, or later on make a third series, which is fine, but I hope they would have given us a clear ending of what happened. Now, a lot of these horror stories end this way, so I will consider that into the rating part, but I think overall the rating of a 7 out of 10 has been fair, and I think I'm going to leave it as that. 7 out of 10 is what I give Jinrou game, the B-side. It did have its twists and turns, it had its slow moments, and it had its confusing moments, but overall, if someone asked me what series to check out, I will recommend this one. So, if you guys have read this series and have your own opinion, leave it in the comment section below. Also, if you haven't done so, subscribe to my channel so you guys can see what next series I will be throwing at you guys. Thank you so much for all the love and support you guys give my channel. And again, if you haven't checked out the rest of the videos, I will have a playlist around here eventually. Thank you so much again, and like always, don't be strangers.